Okay, so today we're going to be talking about three things. The first thing is that the camera's inverted and I look probably weirder than usual because this text on the whiteboard behind me is actually inverted if I didn't flip the camera. But actually the three things, we're going to talk about Gall's law again, which states that every complex system invariably comes from a previously functional, simpler system. And so that sounds complicated, but the premise is that you keep trying to create complex systems from scratch because you think you need a complex system to start. But the reality is that in order to be able to even have a complex system in the first place, you need to start simple. And so instead of having some elaborate workout plan or some elaborate business plan or business structure, what you should really do is start simple. Literally just go to the gym and do something, and then you'll very quickly figure out that you can iterate from there. And through iteration, by basically saying this works, this doesn't work, and then changing it, you will get a complex system. And so a good example of this for me is workouts. So I try to make this super intricate workout plan that hits every single muscle group and is all the perfect exercises to hit all of my goals. And then I go there and I don't do it. Because the reality is that the only way that you know it works is by actually doing it, not by planning to do it. And by trying to create a complex system, you are trying to plan something. You're not actually doing something. And so using Gall's law, we want to start with a simple system. What I did is I wrote down what muscle groups I wanted to hit at the gym, and then I just did something that did those muscle groups. I figured out which exercises I did and I did not like. I changed them. I adjusted the reps, the sets, and the weight depending on how good or bad I was at the original plan. And I started super simple, and already today I've added and subtracted some exercises and changed the system a bit. And so by starting with a simple system, you can then build a complex system. But you cannot have a complex system without a simple system that works. Otherwise, the complex system will not work. And so a simple illustration that will demonstrate this is imagine you have a car and you want to build a car, right? You want a complex automobile. So what you're going to try and do right now, if you're using, without using Gall's law and using your current mentality, not all of you, but most of you probably are, including myself, you're going to take a frame, and then you're going to build the car. But how did they get here? Did somebody just magically know how to put all of the parts of a car together? They just thought, let me put like the million different parts that are in a car, and if I put it together specifically like this, it'll totally work, and then they got it first try. That's not how it happened. How it happened is first you start with the wheel, and you have like a carriage or a buggy or something. It's just a simple little trailer here. And then from there, what you get is maybe something like a bike, right? Like a scooter or a bike or something like that. Is you can go ahead and add, I don't know, a place for you to steer with the wheels. Okay? And then from there, we're going to go on to, oh, well, maybe we can sit something that we can sit in. So we get like a little seat here with wheels and then a steering wheel. But what we had here was horses. So the horses, this is a cart, a carriage. So horses just dragged you everywhere and you steered the horses. And then, rambling on, right? Eventually you get to the modern car, right? I'm an excellent drawer. But the whole idea behind this is somebody did not just invent the automobile in one day. They started with something much more simple. They invented the wheel and then found out that you can put four wheels on something for it to balance and roll in a direction. And then they figured out how to steer. And then through steering, they figured out that you could actually sit on one of these to travel. And then they put it on horses. And then you have carriages. And then from there and technological advancements, eventually we got the engine and all of the other car parts that allow us to steer our modern cars today. And it's infinitely more complex. And somebody did not just come up with the idea of a car. It evolved from a simple system that worked, which was two wheels and a base, or four wheels, I guess, and a base that rolled. It went from that simple to the complex cars we have today. And so you need to create your base. You don't need to instantly jump to the super complex car thinking that it's going to work. Because if you try to build a car your first try, without any iteration at all, you're going to fail epically and it's going to be hilarious. And that's probably what you've done before. So use Gall's law. Now, the second thing we want to talk about is don't be the guy that cares more about how something looks than how it works. And I have always been one of these people, and this is not me telling you something. I'm pretty much like, if you were to tell this to me, you'd be preaching to the choir. Like, I'm horrible at this. My entire personality is I like how things look better than how they function. I will sacrifice functionality for the looks of something, which is a horrible, horrible thing. And I've had to incorporate heavy amounts of discipline in order to try and combat this because naturally, I will sacrifice something that is extremely, extremely useful. Say, I will spend $30 extra on a coffee pot to get one that matches the rest of my apartment. $30 extra. I will pay double for something so that it matches. Because what matters to me isn't the functionality of the coffee pot and what the coffee pot does, it's how it looks. I'm not rich enough to care how things look right now. I'm broke. I should not be spending $30 extra on a coffee pot that looks good. And yet I do. And I have. And the reason behind that, I haven't bought a coffee pot, but like other things besides coffee pots, such as like extra money for desks and chairs. And I try to match everything together and I pay extra money for it. And I go out of my way to specifically get stuff that matches over things that are functional. I will literally sacrifice something that is better for something that looks better. And that's a horrible character trait because what you end up finding is in business and in any sort of fitness related thing, this comes out and shows really bad because I will sacrifice actual proper workouts for a cool app that looks good because it matches and it looks cool, right? I will sacrifice my time working on my business for a cool logo and a cool business name because I care how it looks and how it appears. I'll care more about thumbnails than I will the actual video because I care more about how it looks than how it actually works. And that's horrible because if somebody like me is trying to run a brand about having value, then, well, I should probably have some value. And now things that look good are valuable, but value or look should be the last thing. Like if I am already retired and have like 50 mil in the bank, I can spend $30 extra on a coffee pot that looks good. Like who cares at that point? But I'm not at the place in which those decisions should be made, especially by me. So don't be one of the people who cares so much about how things look or how they appear or the aesthetics more than the functionality until you are wealthy enough to tell me to screw off. Because the reality is you should not be spending more money or spending more time on things just to make them look better. You should be spending on it on the actual work that gets things done. It should look ugly because, as we said before, we want the perfect car that looks super cool, like the Porsche, the blacked out Porsche that looks super cool. But all you really need is a car that doesn't even start half the time and is all scratched up and bagged up because it works. And that's how you have to start. Do you think that a horse carriage looks cool? Do you think it's aesthetic? No, but you had to do that before you get to the car. And so if you want to build some sort of complex system somehow, and you want to build a business or you want to build wealth or you want to build a good body, you have to start simple and ugly. And then eventually, if you stick to the simple and ugly long enough, one, you'll probably stop caring about it. And two, it'll become complex. Right about the time that it starts to look aesthetic and becomes complex is right about the time that you'll probably also stop caring about it in the first place. So those are the first two. And then the last thing I want to cover is a litmus test. So this is basically just a decisive test. And so what I've tried to start do during the day is like ingrain in my brain multiple different mental models or litmus tests I can go through at any moment in time to help me make decisions better. And so the one that I've adopted that's helped me the most is in any situation in which I think about anything, I ask, is this an excuse? Or is this a good excuse? Now, there's no such thing as good excuses, but what this has helped me do is it's helped me filter out decision making without having to properly think. I don't have to actually think things through. And so if you give yourself, I personally noticed for me, hopefully it works for you, but I've noticed that if I give myself enough time to really think something through at times, I make the wrong decision because I allow room for the me that seeks dopamine and that seeks pleasure and is lazy and is tired and wants to give up. It gives room for that person to come in. But if I psychologically ingrain in myself, is this an excuse? Is this an excuse? The first thing I think of whenever I need to make a decision is this an excuse? So a perfect example earlier is, what was I doing? So I hurt my foot. I have an Achilles problem right now. I've been trying to do PT for it, but I was about to go for like an hour walk the other day and I have a brace for it that I am supposed to wear. And I didn't wear it because I had already put my shoe on. And so I asked myself, is this an excuse to not wear it? Like, I'm like, oh no, it's fine. Like I'll make it this one time because I already put my shoe on and I need to go find a sock that fits with a brace and all this. And I instantly, before thinking like, oh yeah, it's fine. Is this an excuse? Yes. Okay. Then go put the brace on, right? You need to be able to do something that is so simple to think of and so quickly that you can do it subconsciously. And so there's like conscious thinking and then there's like fast thinking. I haven't read the book, but I've heard things about the book, like Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. I have the book and I really want to read it, but essentially it's this idea that you can like deeply consider something and critically think, or you make quick decisions. And the quick decisions are like the habits, when the habits take over, when the bad habits take over especially. And so if I can create a habit of questioning myself in every single thing I do with a litmus test, this could be like, is this worth it? Is this an excuse? should I be doing this right now? Or there's plenty other ones of like, would my family respect this? Would my future self respect this? And you can have multiple of these. You basically just run down the list as you go. But what I've noticed the most is you want to get as few as possible because the more you have, the harder they are to remember. And so this isn't an excuse is the one that I wrote. This is mine, and it works the best for me because it covers the most bases in pretty much any situation in which I would be lacking, I guess, doing what I know I should not be doing, like slacking or being lazy. Those are my pretty much the only situations. Like I notice I get caught up the most in diet and in entertainment. So whether it be like watching TV or watching YouTube or eating bad food. And so those are things I get caught up in the most. Pretty consistent with exercise. Otherwise, I'm pretty disciplined, but those are the things. And so when I'm going to eat bad food and I'm like, oh no, it's fine. I can just eat this tonight because it's not going to like one night's not going to hurt me and I can just get back on track tomorrow. I'm like, is this an excuse? Well, yes, this is an excuse for me to eat healthy. I'm making up a story in order to get myself to eat bad. Okay, so then don't do it. So the only key to this is you have to have it deeply ingrained enough in your brain to not have to think about it because you can overturn the litmus test. So for example, if I'm going to get ready for my walk and I have to put my brace on and I'm like, is this an excuse? And I'm like, yes. But then I'm like, well, no, because I already have it on. It gives time for reason, for the devil on your shoulder to come in and reason around your litmus test. So the key to this is to basically don't give yourself time to really think through the litmus test. Give your gut answer quick and just do that. Don't think, just do. And I know this sounds kind of stupid, but like if you try it, come up with one question and just try it. It works every single time for me, every single time. And I've noticed that I've tried many things and most things don't work, but this has worked. Is instantly whenever I'm being undisciplined in any way, I'm like, is this an excuse? Yes. And then I instantly stop. If the answer is yes, this is an excuse, I personally don't want to be known as a person who makes excuses. And I don't want people to think that of me. And whether that's good or bad could be argued, but that is something that inclines me enough to lock in, I guess. Like if I think, oh, I'm making an excuse right now, it makes me feel such that I will go do the thing no matter what it is because I don't want to be a person who makes excuses. So find something that you yourself don't want to be known for and make that your litmus test. So if you want to be known as like respecting your parents or respecting your family or something, just be like, would my family respect this? And you have to pick something that is emotionally charged for you. Like I do not want to be known as a kid that makes excuses. I want to be known as somebody who doesn't make excuses and who gets the work done. And so if I ask myself, is this an excuse? And then I do it, then I am somebody who makes excuses and I'm not representing who I want to be. And that sickens me. And so every time I ask myself, is this an excuse? And I say yes, I will instantly go do it without second thought, always. So these are the 3 things for today that we covered. And first, don't be that guy that cares more about how something looks than how it actually works, because something needs to work before it looks good. And then this can translate instantly over to Gall's law, is complex system comes from working simple systems. You cannot just create a car out of thin air. You had to have first had a cart and buggy and then technical advancement. And so instead of trying to make a car from scratch, make a nice like blacked out Porsche. I keep saying that because I love Porsches, but instead of trying to like get the perfect car that's super aesthetic, do you think that somebody just instantly, do you think a horse carriage is aesthetic, right? And so we had to start out with something ugly that was not aesthetic and didn't look good and we didn't like in order to get the thing that we do. And so start ugly, start with things that don't really work that well, and eventually you will iterate enough that they do work. You cannot go straight to something that works and is complex unless you steal a system from somebody else. But what I've found in every single situation that I've ever tried to do that is we are all unique individuals. And typically, for me at least, somebody else's system does not ever work for me. It looks like it might, and then I try it and it doesn't. So you just have to make your own systems. If you can steal other people's, try it, do it. But if it's a situation where you need to create your own system, your own thing, your own business, your own workout plan, your own anything, start simple, go complex. Start with the crappy looking horse carriage, and then you'll get your Porsche one day. And then the last thing we want to talk about is the litmus test, is just quick questions you can ask yourself, and you should always be able to remember. Only pick a few of them and just copy them until you can instantly remember them. And then make it a habit to think of it every single time you need to make a decision that requires discipline. So anytime you need anything, like the example that we use here was me putting my shoes on. If I decided that, oh no, it's fine, I'll go walk without my brace, and there's a likely chance that I'll either get an inflamed Achilles or I'll re-injure it of some sort. So the reality is this an excuse? of for me not wanting to do the extra work to go find the brace, put the brace on, and go for the walk. Yes, this is an excuse. I don't want to be known for excuses. Therefore, I'm going to go do it. And you need to do all this in a split second. Is this an excuse? Yes. And then start acting. And so those are the three we covered today. These three have literally changed my life. Like, not an understatement. These three things have completely changed the way I think. And I've only discovered these in the last week or two. Literally completely changed. I feel like a completely new person. I feel much more at peace. I'm getting a lot more done. And that's it. So I hope you have a phenomenal day. And please, please take these into consideration. And I hope you didn't mind the inverted face. Bye.